All right, let's go. Is winter over? It is January 26th, 2024, and it is 71 degrees in my house in Northern Virginia. It's really warm across the entire country right now. Why? And is it going to go away? Is winter going to come back? Uh, we had a pretty good snow here a few days ago. All that snow is gone. All the snowmen my kids built, gone. Uh, it is just too dang warm. So, we're going to see if winter is going to come back. How are we going to see that? We're going to use ptweather.com to look at the polar vortex, the North Atlantic Oscillation, the Arctic Oscillation, and the jet stream. And we're going to see if these things come together to give us a good February potentially. And I'll explain all those things to you. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to do the same analysis using ptweather.com. But right now, today, it does not look good. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pressure, because the pressure is going to play a role in all of this. All right, so here's our pressure right now. A few things to note. The North Atlantic Oscillation and the Arctic Oscillation. The pressure basically derives whether these are in a positive or a negative phase. It influences them. They're in a the Arctic Oscillation is in a positive phase when there's a lot of low pressure up in the Arctic and high pressure in the mid-latitudes. The North Atlantic Oscillation is a more regional phenomena that happens when there's an Icelandic low, which there is right now, and an Azores high, which there is right now, with a good contrast between them, which there is. When these things are in place, it is in a positive phase. What happens when they're in a positive phase? It influences the westerlies, and it also influences the jet stream. It makes for a stronger jet stream. When there's when it's low up here, high over here, and there's a good contrast, you get a strong jet stream. More specifically, a strong polar jet stream, which then influences the polar vortex, which is our dome of cold air in the Arctic. And it's getting held in by that jet stream, that strong jet stream. And so that's part of the reason why it's so cold here. You can actually see the jet stream right now. It's a new parameter I've added on ptweather.com. If you click on it and hit submit, there's the jet stream. The subtropical one is down here. I'm going across the globe. It goes from west to east. The polar vortex, the polar jet stream, which is holding in the polar vortex, is going from west to east, way up here, up in Canada. And it's pretty strong, and that cold air cannot get through here. What's more, why is it so warm right now on the East Coast? Well, we're actually even below the subtropical jet stream. It's very unusual for this time of year, but it's allowed a ton of warm air to filter in. Typically on one side of the jet stream, you'll have colder air. On the other side, you'll have warmer air. And then over here, you see these big red streaks. These are called jet streaks. There are areas where there's really strong winds in the jet stream relative to other places in the jet stream. You see it over here too. A lot of times this influences rising air, and you'll see things like, if we go to precipitation, you'll see precipitation in some of those spots. Yeah, in this whole area. Okay, but I digress. We are looking at pressure right now and why it's so warm. So we're in the positive phase based on this. We want to see if we can go into the negative phase of the North Atlantic Oscillation and the Arctic Oscillation. For that to happen, this whole pressure environment here needs to completely change. And so we're going to see if that's going to happen. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color ramp to relative. I'm going to make these colors a little bit more easy to distinguish, especially the contrast between pressure. So we're going to change this guy to 29, and over here we'll go 30.5, and we're going to hit this lock button to lock it in place. And now you can really see that contrast between the low pressure and the high pressure. You can see all the low pressure up in the Arctic that's locked in there, and then the high pressure in the mid-latitudes that's locked in there, causing that strong polar vortex, the strong jet stream, and the positive phase in the oscillations. We're going to go forward 2 days at a time. We're going to see if that changes. And I just went forward 2 hours. I'm going to change that to days. All right, this is the 28th. Much of the same, especially with that North Atlantic Oscillation. Same on the 30th. Same on the 1st. We're still positive. On the 3rd, something interesting happens. All that low pressure that was in the Arctic, at least a lot of it, it's now high pressure. It's gone. It's the gradient between high and low pressure is now less, and the low pressure is now moving towards the mid latitudes. This is good. We still have that positive NAO right over here with the low pressure system over Iceland and the high pressure over the Azores. But let's see if we go forward a couple more days, what happens with that one also. And so at this point, we still have low pressure here, but now there's a whole bunch of high pressure above it. We've really flipped the script. I think we can go 1 or 2 more days. We'll go one more day. Yeah, we now have high pressure over Iceland, over Antarctica, over Greenland, and low pressure really dominating the mid latitudes. Both the NAO and the AO, Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation, they've flipped. They are no longer in a positive phase. They are now in a negative phase. What this means is we now have a weaker polar jet stream. And what that means is that it's probably not going to be able to hold in all that cold air in the Arctic. It also means it's not going to be as straight west to east as it normally is. It's going to start getting a little bit wavy. And when you get a wavy jet stream, well, that's when you can really get your big storms. So let's go to our jet stream right now for February 8th and see what it looks like. And sure enough, here's our subtropical one down here. And that's below everybody. We're going to go to static to get rid of some of the lighter colors. You can see our subtropical jet stream down here going west to east. But look at our polar jet stream. It's really changed. Before there was a huge block that was blocking that polar vortex from being able to filter cold air in. A lot of that block is fragmented. A lot of that jet stream is fragmented. Also, you start seeing these big undulations like this, these big curves in the jet stream. Curves like this, if they happen like over here, they have a tendency to hold in pressure, to hold weather systems in place and block them. And that's when we'll get our really big storms. And so this is great if you like snow and if you like cold weather and you're hoping for a good winter this February. It doesn't guarantee it, not by a long shot. But it means the possibility is there. The possibility is there for the big snowstorm. The possibility is there for just any snow. But you still need to get a little bit lucky with that roll of the dice. So we're now in a negative phase. The jet stream is weaker. The polar vortex is weaker. And are we going to get precipitation during this time? Right now, the way the models look, it doesn't really show anything big happening for us. But it's really hard once that polar vortex weakens and once that jet stream fragments. It's really hard to get a good grasp on what's going to happen long term with some of these weather systems. One day it might be showing a 2-foot snowstorm. The next day it's gone. Likewise, you might be a few days out, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're about to get a huge snowstorm. It gets a little bit tougher to predict when the polar jet stream is like this. All right, so. Yes, we could get a good winter. Not guaranteed, but if you stayed around this long, thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like and subscribe, I will maybe give away this Hamburglar, and you can win it if you like or subscribe. My daughter calls it a Hamburger. So if you want the Hamburger, like me and subscribe. Go to Facebook and Twitter, YouTube. I'm on all of those. You can click on them right here. All right. Have a good winter. I'm not giving away my Hamburger.